always just that active red line defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on. Just as the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again, you know. Again, first things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. I hope everyone's enjoying their Monday. I hope you and your loved ones are in great health, and where your personal and private lives are concerned, hope everything's ticking over. Big Monday to my fellow Arsenal fans and fans of other clubs who got 3 points. You know, I saw across the weekend, Arsenal won another London derby. As you lot know, Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1. We came back in dramatic circumstances in the 4-goal thriller. And what has been the case at the Emirates where United are concerned, Rashford scores first, we take 3 points and keep it moving. Shout out to my £100 million man, Declan Rice. He stood up to be counted. I heard the youth over down the road, he's made 2 mistakes in 2 games. It's crazy. You know, Declan Rice gets on with it. Certain people will cry and throw their toys out the pram and make Instagram posts about leaving their clubs, people. It is what it is, people. I hope you lot are doing well and safe. Again, allegedly, Pepe is apparently putting the final touches towards going to Besiktas. Mikel Arteta has spoken about Kai Havertz, and he's also spoken about Partey. I'm sure you lot have a lot of opinions in relation to the match. So yeah, smash the like button, comment. One love to you lot tuned in on YouTube, Twitch, and obviously Twitter. And again, at 5 p.m, I've gone over the game. I've done some editing on a video and things like that. So there's another video out for you lot to come. So yeah, make sure you're looking out for that. Again, I'm tired of waffling about my own opinions on Arsenal. Let me know your thoughts. Gary has said, see you at 3DG. I'll give you my verdict then. Hope you're well. Gary, appreciate you. It is 3 o'clock. Get your thoughts in. The Arsenal squad is too anxious to be in the Champions League, which is affecting Premier League games. I just think we're too excited, especially at the Emirates. I think when you look at across 90 minutes, I think watching the game again this morning and yesterday, we were the more dominant team, but at least until the first goal went in, it was a bit of a ball fest. Nothing was really happening. You know, United probably had the majority of the ball up until that point, but they're not really going forward. You know, they're punching it into the channels because they haven't really got players that are showing for it. We're winning that. I think the game kind of sparked into life when Rashford and then Odegaard scored. Second half, I think it was all Arsenal. But again, we leave ourselves very open on the transition. I don't know what it is. I think it's a mixture of excitement, handling our emotions in a good and bad way, a bit naive. I feel, you know, I like the atmosphere at the Emirates, but I feel we feed off the energy sometimes a bit too much and we're too giggity. The only criticisms I could say of yesterday would be we're far too open at times on the transition. We didn't need to go behind. We made it way more dramatic than it needs to be when we remove emotion. We conceded another cheap goal. Not that I thought we'd keep a clean sheet or necessarily, not that I don't care, but care about a clean sheet in a top 6 clash. Them kind of things there, really. I think every player watching the game again can look back with a sense of joy. Obviously, Havertz has lost the ball in the midfield. I didn't think Benjamin White and Saliba did well enough for that goal. I actually was quite disappointed in the goal that got disallowed by Garnacho. Fortunately, Gabriel was switched on. I think Gabriel's performance yesterday is very underrated. Big Gabriel. I think Reece Nelson, more so Fabio Vieira, Tommy Asu. I think all the subs came and brought something to the table. Martinelli was a bit better than Saka. I don't think it was the best of games from both, but they both walked away with an assist. It shows us our wingers are doing well. And I think Declan Rice was a baller. Odegaard was bossing it. I think Eddie Nketiah played quite well. Obviously, he didn't score. No one's going to remember this, but I think he put a shift in. Again, you need all of your players to win a game like that, really. It's a game of fine margins. It could have went either way, really. Fortunately, the margins fell for us. I'm not going to lie. Do I think Havertz's penalty is a penalty? In principle, no. I think the game's gone mad. But in line of what the present day suggests, that is a penalty. I've seen Rashford giving that. I don't know how that wasn't given. And shout out to Shout out to Declan Rice and Eddie Nketiah in that regards as well. So yeah, man, when you remove the drama, there's many things to be good about, happy about that we did good, and we need to take the good and make it great. There's evident areas of improvement because, again, I discount it because it's a top 6 game, but it is another game that's probably been, well, Arsenal won in it, but, you know, it's way more entertaining for the neutrals to watch than Arsenal or Man United fans, really. Havertz needs love, not dropping him, stop abusing him. I can only speak for myself. I've not once abused Kai Havertz. I've not once said he's this and that. Let's be wary before. I don't think you're talking about me in general. I don't advocate abuse. I don't advocate scapegoatism and things like that. But what I do advocate, if a man's playing good, praise him. If he's playing shaky, get on to him. It's as simple as that. You're at Arsenal Football Club, really and truly. If Kai Havertz got, you know, started like a house on fire like Timber and Declan Rice, we'd all be waxing lyrical. He's getting love for the manager. Reality is the manager's opinion is all that matters, not to disregard the fans, but that's the one that bought you. That's the one that's playing you. I'm not going to write off Havertz 4 or 5 games into a season. I don't think he was terrible yesterday at all. I think he put in a shift off the ball. I think he actually played quite well. But unfortunately with Havertz, you're only going to be remembered, in my opinion, in the Man United game for 3 incidences in particular. Obviously, where he's given the ball away. Balls get lost in it. While, you know, it'll be Havertz yesterday, it'll be someone else. That is football. As I said, I think while Havertz has lost the ball where we done well to win it back, several players could have done a lot better. I'm more angry at Havertz for not scoring, really, and Bukayo Saka, really. In the second half, Saka should have bagged. Let's be honest, Havertz should have scored, and it's the way Havertz is taking these chances. And obviously, he won a penalty. It was disallowed. We didn't get it. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna write off Havertz, but where you look at Fabio Vieira, it's another cameo. You're thinking, boy, it's another game. You want Havertz to kind of just do a little bit more. I think he fitted in. He didn't stand out, really. I kind of covered Havertz in the video to come out at 5 p.m, so check that out, man. But welcome your opinions. We have to play Havertz. And again, I think Havertz helped us physically. That's why I understood the reluctance for Arteta to sub him when he looked a bit tired. And to be fair, Arteta got his subs right, because I think Saka looked extremely knackered at 1-1. But obviously, Arteta stuck to his guns. He brought players on at the right time. End of the day, Saka got an assist. As I said, when these wingers are not necessarily having their best games or any games to write home about, that's the true level of can you affect the game, and they did. Even when you look at, again, I covered it in the video at 5 p.m, but some of the other defensive metrics and other things Saka put himself about. We have to play Havertz, play him at the 9 because he's hurting our build-up play. When he loses the ball, it won't be as crucial. To be fair, I don't think he's harming our build-up play, and if he's going to play 9, would you drop Eddie Nketiah right now? Would you drop Gabriel Jesus? Well, you can't really drop Jesus because he's on the bench. I don't quite agree with that. Honest assessment and critical appraisal is not abuse. I'm not loving anyone unconditionally, certainly not Chelsea rejects we overpaid for. Any actual abuse, unacceptable, of course. I mean, Inner Circle, big up the members, he's put it a bit harsh, but yeah, like he said there, unacceptable abuse, where it starts getting personal and scapegoatism, that's fine. That's not fine, sorry. Asking questions of a performance, no one is free from scrutiny. Not me on YouTube, not you lot in your jobs, not these footballers that are playing in front of millions of people. At the end of the day, it has to work with Havertz. Arteta spent a lot of money. He's getting paid a lot of money weekly. He's probably signed a 4 or 5 year deal. So I'm not going to write him off 4 games in. But the Fulham game was the one I was the most disappointed with Havertz. I wanted a bit more against United. But at the same time, we played 4 games. We've dropped only 2 points. It's worked. You started in a Community Shield final. At the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is Mikel Arteta's. You know, there's several players that have left this club and are still at this club that if it was up to fans, Odegaard wouldn't be here. Ramsdale wouldn't be here. Benjamin White wouldn't be here. Xhaka left a lot more cleaner and healthily than how he was going to leave first time around. It's the manager's playing you and the manager's told you you've done well. It's not that the fans' opinion doesn't matter and you shouldn't take it in, because I'm pretty sure Havertz will be critical of himself. That's all that matters. If the manager says you're playing well, that is it, really. But Havertz has been very poor, contributed absolutely nothing. You can't show me one clip of him doing something above average, missed a sitter, gave the ball away, long way away from justifying signing and starting. I mean, Inner Circle is very harsh, but at the same time, just because he's being harsh doesn't mean he's necessarily wrong. Big up yourselves. Then you've got Vieira, who created 3 goals in substitute appearances. Make it make sense, because I don't get it. And Trossard now looks frozen out with Nelson coming on instead. To be fair, I did think Trossard would come on because there was a couple of incidences in the second half when we was in United's box. It just felt a better first touch to set yourself, and Trossard would grab a goal. We all remember last year, Trossard, how he helped us. The challenge for Fabio Vieira is just to keep doing what you're doing, keep banging on the door. But when you get that start, take it. Obviously, we know it's very harsh to ask someone to affect the game in a couple of minutes. Then it's very harsh to say you get your first start. If you play good, great. If you play bad, you should be dropped. But that's the reality. The places are up for grabs, but at the same time in the squad, they're not. So when Fabio Vieira gets his chance, take it. And there's obviously been games, Fulham away, Trossard, There's been a number of games Trossard has done well, but me personally, as much as I like Trossard and I think he should get a lot more starts, I think he looks better as an impactor, as Arteta says. I don't think he's always moved me when he started games, really and truly. And I don't think he's moved Arteta, or you would be starting, wouldn't you? That's the challenge for Fabio Vieira. When you do get that chance, take it. I don't think Havertz is any way from being dropped at this moment in time. I think clearly Arteta is trying to play him into a spell of confidence, but at the same time waits for no one, and you can't put Havertz's opinions or what's good for Havertz above the collective. And there might come a time where other options have to be displayed. But at the end of the day, we won 3-1. That is probably the first choice midfield trio of Odegaard, Rice, and Havertz that at some point Arteta wants to deploy on a more regular basis. But this is what we need, man. We needed a squad. We've got that. Big up Terry Loose Screw, and bless up to everyone in the stream. See, I hope you're doing well and safe. Now Thomas Partey is out till beyond the Chelsea game and first Champions League group games. Very thin. Pray for Rice to remain fit. Jorginho's once again been linked with a move to Fenerbahce, even though it was kind of quashed. Bro, big up Caicedo, but the minute you sign for them, lot agendas really and truly. You know, I know Declan Rice can receive the ball in the half turn and not lose it and get finesse. He's done that twice. You know, 1 minute you're giving away a penalty, then you're losing it against Forest. Big up Levi Colwill, but that jogging you was doing for that goal was borderline comedic. Really, hope you're good, doing well and safe, Red. DG actually predicted 3-1 in his preview. My guy. Yeah, but what does it say about Trossard and Smith Rowe? That you're not in the immediate thinking, but saying that I could be wrong, but when have we seen Reece Nelson this season until I know he's had injuries, but until yesterday? Smith Rowe and Trossard, they just have to wait until the games come thick and fast and you get your opportunities. The season has just started. The team is more or less going to stay the same. Just take your chances, because those who are regulars now in August, September, that might not be the case in May. If you're Kirill, if you're Fabio Vieira, if you're Trossard, if you're Smith Rowe, keep working. And Eddie Nketiah is living proof of that, really and truly. Kai needs dropping, though. Yeah, I don't know for the abuse thing. Trossard has had minutes. I can understand your agreement more so for Smith Rowe. I hear that. And I don't buy that. For me, I'm not with this Trossard in the 8 role. It's, you play out wide, you play false 9. If Arteta says you can play 8, then I'll hear it. But you play out wide, you play false 9. At a push, you play 10. That's about it. I think I'd persevere with Havertz for another short while. I'm loving these off-the-bench cameos from Vieira. He's grabbing this role with both hands and excelling at it. Ultimately, you do that, you gain the manager's trust. I don't think Havertz is going to be dropped now. I don't necessarily think, unless Partey woke up and you're fit tomorrow, which obviously the dynamics of what we're doing right now changes, I don't think I would necessarily drop Kai Havertz. But then I couldn't say I'm not entertained by, I don't know who we got next in the Prem, but if Fabio got to start, what could he do there? Hopefully, with the international break going off with Germany, with Havertz, it clears his head. But it takes only a few games to prove people wrong, essentially. I'm not going to judge a man 4 games into a 5-year deal or something. Trossard has been banging since he arrived now. It looks like he's been frozen out. To be fair, we've got 7. We've dropped 2 points in it. So I can't really disagree. I would love for everybody to get a game and equal minutes and things, but the collective comes first. While I don't blindly back Arteta, if what you're doing is breeding results, then 3 points first, everyone else second. If we're not doing well, when we're shaking, the results are mixed and players are not, justifying the faith Arteta has for them to start, then there's that. And at some point, if it consists with Havertz, then you might entertain a Partey, a Jorginho, a Fabio Vieira, a Smith Rowe, maybe even playing Havertz in the 10 and putting Odegaard where he is. Not that would change too much. But yeah, man, it is sad to see with Smith Rowe, but get your minutes. If you're still in the same position, not just him, but a number of these players come January, then you need to know what happens, really. Havertz was a standard 5 out of 10. He did nothing wrong. Only bad thing I would say is he needs to go deep and ask for balls more. To be fair, I did think Havertz dropped deep quite a lot. There were times he was giving the ball away cheaply, like it came to nothing. But early on, first 5 minutes, he kind of killed Odegaard with one of his passes where 2 United players were there. So the thing with Havertz is, I'm going to give him time. He's adapting to a new system, a new manager, a new club, all of them things there. But then again, it's not that I'm not giving you time. Them excuses I would more likely give you if we sign someone from a next league, they're 18, 19 years of age, and then they've just joined this team. You're relatively Premier League proven. You're a Champions League winner. You're a German international. I look at Kai Havertz personally, when he arrived at the club, in the same way I looked at Odegaard, Benjamin White to a slight degree, and Ramsdale, in that you might be mid to early 20s at the time of signing for the club, but you've got a wealth of experience. Jesus Zinchenko as well. You've got a wealth of experience. You lot might as well be 35-year-olds coming into this young squad. So I hope it works, really and truly. I mean, there's got to be a reason Arteta wanted him. What I would say is down to Havertz to prove people wrong. You're not the first or the last footballer that signed for a club that has had question marks over him. And we all know Havertz wasn't going to be given time, really. He's an ex-Chelsea lad. You know, he's a player you quickly looked at, you know, easy target. When you're an Arsenal fan and Havertz is playing for Chelsea, shy Havertz, all of that stuff. But now he's here. But yeah, man, it was nice to see, in my opinion, Eddie Nketiah get his start. I think he deserved that. It was lovely to see Jesus impact off the bench as well. Good competition in that regards. Who knows? You know, if Eddie Nketiah's form stays the same and gets better and Jesus is doing well, there might be a reality, I don't believe it, where Saka can get rested because Jesus can play out wide. But I think 5 out of 10 is fair. I can't wait to see Jesus get more minutes while he gets his fitness up. Miss seeing that finesse up top. No slack to Eddie. I hear that. And I felt sorry for Eddie Nketiah because the one thing I would say, I wanted him to score because I think he was working his socks off, working the channels. Arguably, Lindelof should have been sent off. You know, again, in the build-up for the Havertz penalty that was disallowed, Eddie did that. I kind of wanted him to get a chance like Jesus had because I don't think we created much like that. I don't think since the season started, we've created to the standard we can, regardless of how many goals he scored yesterday. Havertz is a problem we never needed, but here we are. Fair enough. To be fair, Trossard did start versus Fulham and wasn't anything special. Wouldn't say he's frozen out. There you have it. Take your chance, bro. Havertz needs more time before he's ready to start. Havertz needs more. You say that, but if Arteta's building the system, he spent that amount of money. Maybe Arteta don't believe that. Smith Rowe, Vieira needed. What's the latest with Partey injury? I heard a few weeks now. Apparently it's a few months. There's rumors of scans. Some pessimistic people say he's out for 3 months. Some say it's a matter of weeks. Arteta has spoken on that. Smash the like button, people. We're going to get into that sort of stuff shortly, man. Can we get to 100 likes? I think we'll be seeing a lot more of our other players when all the cups start, but Havertz needs to be dropped. It's now time to drop Havertz for a while. Partey is out for 6 months with a groin injury. Big up DG on the 3-1 prediction yesterday. I hear you, but realistically, whatever you think of Partey, whether he's playing right back or centre mid, that's a key part of your team, right? A byproduct of Partey being injured is Gabriel, who done well yesterday, comes back into the team. Whether you rate Havertz or not, clearly Arteta has him in the team doing a certain job. You already lost Partey, which is one sort of piece of the puzzle out. He's not going to invent more, is he really? And to a degree, it isn't exactly broke. So I don't think it's necessarily the time to fix it. But undoubtedly, there is a lot of problems for Havertz. And I do think for me with Havertz, I look at Havertz and I think it's down to you. And what I mean by that is I think the manager's going to give you all the confidence. I think the majority of fans, even the ones that have concerns, are going to back you. I think the players are going to back you. You've played in the Premier League. I think he needs to find himself in a certain headspace and make the difference really and truly. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who does? He looks like he needs an arm around his shoulder. Like, for me, I always look at the reactions when we miss chances. Like when he missed that chance, it's like he was down on his luck. But you just got to keep going, man. I'm done with my Havertz prop. I do see the player in there. I see positives, but he just consistently finds a way to mess up the simplest part of the game. It's annoying to have to do this with a 65 million player, but maybe he needs more time to work on the fundamentals, more one-on-one work with Arteta and come back when you're eyeing some of these errors. I have to say the first thing you can do is shooting boots. If he finds his shooting boots, and just find maybe he needs to see a psychiatrist or something, because I think his problems are more mental. I think I can see how you fit into the team. I think you're obviously a good technical player, but I just think you just need a bit more confidence, and I think that has to come internally. Like I wish he had a bit of, I don't know him from nowhere, but if he had a bit of that Eddie Nketiah mentality that he backs himself really, and I think the same goes for Lukonga, who's not there. Bro, this Havertz talk is being blown out of proportion, in my opinion. Let us be patient with him. Look at the amount of players we have written off under Arteta. It's been 4 games only. I can only speak for myself. The one I've been very passionate about is Odegaard. I ain't written him off. Havertz will be worth the bedding in process, in my opinion. Leverkusen Havertz isn't far away. Again, as I said, I'm not going to write a man off 4 games into a 4 or 5 year deal. Big up DG. Very few feelings are better than beating Scum United. Vieira will be our Bernardo by January. Kai will keep playing, and it's only been 4 games. Still needs more time. To be fair, Bernardo, so he's got a long way to go before he's mentioned as Bernardo Silva. But that is what I mean. Fabio Vieira looked like he needed once upon a time. Fabio looked like he needed some confidence. Now he looks like he's got that bit between his teeth, that fire in his belly. If he can just impose himself a tiny bit more in starts he gets and improve a bit physically, then we're laughing with Fabio Vieira, man. And at the end of the day, Fabio Vieira is going to have to take his chances, because last year, you had Xhaka in the 8, you had Odegaard in the 10, 2 key players, one's the captain. This year, Havertz has been brought for X amount of money. You do have Jorginho waiting in the wings. You do have a lot of options. In the position he's playing, you're fighting a lot of people. So when you get your chance, whether it's 1 minute or 90, take it. But the games are coming thick and fast. I do think, when I say everyone gets their time, I don't think everyone's going to get mad 90 minutes and hella starts, but everyone's going to get a decent amount of opportunity to display something to Arteta. I think Havertz would be better suited with 20, 30 minute appearances, really. I do think Havertz helps us a lot off the ball. Like, physically, I think he helped us a lot yesterday. But at the same time, I do find myself not being harsh, but you should be able to do that anyways. Game management, tactical fouls, helping out physically. That should be in your game already. I shouldn't be overpraising you for that. No excuse for the miss kick. Needs to do shooting practice, man. We saw that twice against Man City in the Community Shield. We saw that yesterday. Fortunately, it hasn't meant anything. But yeah, man, just needs to keep going. Allow him for the MLS skills performance. He couldn't be asked, man. Did he not score the next game? Thanks for the memories, Kai, but it's time to go. Bit harsh. Eddie played a quality first-time ball to Gabby, who got the assist on Martin's goal. Good vision from Eddie. Kai is off the pace, says a lot about our quality where one or two misplaced passes stick out like a sore thumb. To be fair, it's on the transition, man. We need to improve a tenfold on the transition, in my opinion. It's far too open. Fair enough, Kai has given the ball away, but we've been caught in the transition. Where is our midfield? I love Saliba and I love Benjamin White, but I got to be honest, you knew what Rashford was going to do. I can't tell Premier League footballers anything about football, but you can go and watch my watching, and you knew, everyone knew, even Rashford himself knew there was no way you was taking that on your left foot. We've seen definitely against Arsenal, and we've seen Rashford. There was only one thing he's going to do is put that on his right foot. You either have to show him on his left or make it very difficult for him to get a yard of space. And I think the amount of touches Rashford had for that goal, it did upset me because he had about 1,000,000 years to set himself. He probably sorted out his delivery order as well, if I'm honest. I know they ain't the same, but 40 M's for Maddison makes more sense. But we'll see. I'm going to reassess Havertz by January. It pains me that James Maddison is performing for them down the road, man. Big up Guna Lee as well. Smith Rowe still holding bench. That's cool, bro. Like that's proper calm. Smith Rowe's time will come. Why are you trying it? You need to repent your sins for Declan Rice, you shameless guy, man. You think I don't see your tweets? I want Caicedo. Go join them down the road like Caicedo can play a 5-yard pass. Told you about Declan Rice. Make sure you're subscribing to Guna Lee, though, man. Win was crazy, but we need more performances will grow. I would say collectively for me, we got to be less emotional because when you take your emotion away from that game, I do think if the game went, like if we lost 2-1 and Garnacho's goal stood, obviously Havertz is going to be the fool guy. And, there's going to be several other talking points. When you remove the emotion, we were good. But we need to become great. And it's another game we've come from behind. Fair enough. Again, I want Arsenal to keep more clean sheets, but you're playing a top 6 clash. You knew against United it was going to be a crazy one, but I think it was a cheap goal to concede. I don't think they had many opportunities. But yeah, I think we can create more. I know we scored 3 goals and we did a madness in the last 10, but I think we could have created a lot more. I think actually Man United were relatively competitive, and I know they still put a relatively strong side out there, but considering where we're at as a club and where they're at as a club, I don't think it should have been that competitive. I think we could have created more. I think we could have made it more difficult for them to score. Many things we could have done better once you remove emotions. I'm not trying to hear that time/patient talk about him. People aren't backing him because he stunk out the gaff at Chelsea for 3 years and now he's bringing the stink here. It's just not working. Listen, I can't tell anyone to be patient for the sake of it. Me personally, I'm going to give Havertz time. That doesn't mean I'm just going to blindly accept in the hope that, we strike gold. That doesn't mean I'm not going to praise or critique his performances appropriately. I just don't think he's been terrible. For me, the Fulham game was the one I'm like, yeah, I need a lot more from you, where he slightly missed the chance. I think he was all right yesterday in terms of the collective team goal. I think he does all the things Arteta wants him to do, the pressing, the defending, the physicality, the tactical fouls. I think he does all of that. But where it comes to the technical level, like someone that you would look at with Havertz, I think he looks a bit like he ain't got confidence. I think he's playing backwards. I think there's this nonchalance to his play. Like the way he took that, I can't tell a Premier League footballer how to play football, much less score goals, because I've never done it. But the way he took that opportunity where he missed, and don't get twisted, Saka should have scored as well, his opportunity. We're keeping it fair. I don't think he's striking the ball well. I think that was his head was down when he looked for Odegaard there, and it could have happened to anyone. I just want to see a bit more of what your personal spin on things are. But from Arteta's comparing him to his wife, he's playing for a sec, man. I know you don't want to hear it, but we've got to be patient, man. Big up Suge Knight, man. Buying Havertz for 65 million is a sackable offense. I mean, if he does the business, he does the business. Arteta wanted a multifunctional player, and I guess off the ball, he's doing everything Arteta wants. I just hope the performances come, really, because we said it in August. If you didn't watch Timber in the Eredivisie and you just showed a 5-minute clip to Arsenal fans of what he's about and everything about him as a footballer, people could sit there and see how he gets us closer in his own way to City. The same goes for Declan Rice. With Havertz, you'll be ooming and ahhing. And for me, it's more my faith in Arteta with Kai Havertz. And I'm not going to say there's not things to be worried about, but I don't think he's been terrible. Underwhelming, 100%, really. Is there a concern? Is there a point where we'll look at and say this is scary? Probably, but there'll probably be a time he goes through a real patch of form. Everyone has to take their chance when it comes, except Kai, who is going to keep getting picked no matter how much he stinks up the joint. No one's giving my man time. I understand people's frustrations, but DMing Havertz on socials, abusing him, and then expecting him to shine on the pitch is silly. He was being abused before he kicked the ball for us, bang out of order. Now, nobody advocates the silly social media stuff, at least on my channel. Anyone doing too much, abusing someone, getting personal, scapegoating, we don't allow that. We don't accept that, really and truly. But what I would say to Havertz, I know it's hard. Fuck them. Like, anyone talking nonsense to you on social media, all of these outlets killing you. You knew what you were stepping into. Some of the talking points you're currently seeing representing the team in red, you saw in the team in blue. As long as the manager thinks you're playing well, that's it, really. We created three clear-cut chances against a really poor United team. Really poor, my guy. As I said, I think we could create a lot more. I think we could defend a lot more. But I don't expect us to be firing at this point in the season. I know that's a bit hypocritical because last season it was so much better. They're saying ain't rating that Smith Rowe. You jokes aside, Havertz ain't busting case. He just ain't good enough. It is what it is. And Saka needs to get his act together. To be fair, allow Saka, man. Like, his first game, he took off, man. How many times is he going to win games for us? How many times has he made the difference, man? Allow him. And even then, he still walked away with an assist. No Saka slander will be tolerated. I saw red flags and the team was bailed out by how bad United are. We made it dramatic, man. We made it more dramatic than it needed to be, man. You look like a Lego piece, whatever that is. As long as your mum's got a fetish for Legos. Last time I checked, I weren't yellow or caramel, but, you know, I'm a chocolate cinnamon darling, if that's what she likes. Come on. Anyways, away from the silly trolling. As a rival, Havertz had good bursts in the second half. He could be a decent impact sub for you. I do like his physicality. Saka, poor start to the season, or have expectations just gone really high? Probably gone really high. I don't think he's been poor. I was more onto him about the Fulham game because, you know, he made the mistake leading to the goal, but then he walked away and made a difference, really. You know, again, I think the goals will come from Martinelli. I think considering they didn't have the best of games, Saka and Martinelli walked away with 2 assists. They were still relatively positive, but I do want to see them fit and firing like last year. Big up my captain though, because my captain stood up to be counted. You know, I don't know for Bruno Fernandes. I didn't know someone could love a blade of grass as much as him. How much time is on the floor? If I was a United fan, honestly, like, he would pee me the hell off. The fact that he's the captain, I don't want to sound like them old school guys, but the fact that he's the captain and you conduct yourself like that, again, I'm not privy to how you are in the changing rooms, but how you conduct yourself on my TV and what I'm seeing is a shambolic excuse of a captain, if I'm honest with you. Saka needs to be benched. You saw in the game, Odegaard didn't fancy passing to him because he kept fumbling. Cap passed to him enough times. Saka dropped for who? His miss was terrible. You know you'll get slaughtered in Sunday League for missing that. Amen. To be fair, he's starting at least 10 games. You don't spend 65 M's and keep it on the shelf. Just going to have to get behind him. Amen. I agree. I don't think as a whole Kai has been bad, but so many individual moments do make me question him. Just feel like his attitude isn't there. To be fair, I don't agree with the attitude thing. I think he feels sorry for himself. I think he needs a bit of confidence, but I have seen nothing to suggest that Havertz is lazy. You look at the statistics, he's not. Based on the shift he puts in. I don't want to praise players for putting in a shift. I always give the example. If you've got 2 friends and one friend, Jack, you speak about him and they ask how another friend asks how good of a footballer he is, and you say Jack puts in a shift, and then you've got Jimmy and you say you couldn't get the phone or the ball of Jimmy in the phone box. Clearly Jimmy's a baller. Man are putting in shifts. But I don't want to praise man for putting in the shift, but Havertz, I think he does all of that. I don't think it's an attitude thing. Definitely nothing like Mesut Ozil. He's definitely not got the majesticness that Ozil has. If anyone's close to Mesut Ozil in that Arsenal squad, it would be Martin Odegaard. But I think it's a language thing. I think obviously in the English game, if you're not flying into a million tackles, scoring from 30 yards, the majority of people don't rate you. I just think, I wouldn't even say Havertz's body language is negative, but it's a bit like Ozil's. It's a bit like, you know, even yesterday, Martial gets spoken about with the body language sort of stuff. So I think it's more of a case of that, man. It's just at the end of the day, Havertz with a football has to bring quality. I don't want to have to keep looking at metrics and watching games again and all these things. So yeah, man. It took Bergkamp 10 games to settle in. I hope Havertz does his thing. As I said, he signed a 4 or 5 year deal. Not going to write a man off yet. But time waits for no one. And at the end of the day, we've given ourselves no room for error. DG, what are your thoughts about Ten Hag's comment on Sancho? Thoughts on Sancho saga? Sad for Jadon Sancho because he's a good player. That just tells me that either Ten Hag is at his wit's end, like he's tried everything with Sancho and now he's trying to get a reaction in the public, or, you know, they tried to probably get rid of him in the summer and it didn't happen and there was no takers or no sort of situation. I do understand how it kind of comes across that Ten Hag has thrown him under a bus, and because obviously Man United lost 3-1 in a crazy game. The talking point has become Sancho, but Ten Hag was asked a question, he did answer it, and it was quite harsh, really. I mean, Arteta said that if you're not training well, you're not training well. You could say Ten Hag's got an agenda against him and things like that, but I don't watch Man United training. If the man that leads training says you're not doing the things you need to do, then you're not doing the things you need to do, really and truly. I did find it interesting that Jadon came out and said almost instantly, this is not it, because, I'd imagine, the majority of them United players are playing for their countries. They've all jetted off. Sancho, forgive me if I'm wrong, is not in England, in England duty. Man United players are probably having recovery sessions or maybe training for those that didn't play. And you'd imagine Ten Hag's leading it and Sancho's going to be there. So it's going to be quite the awkward training session. At least until January, there's nothing you can do. Man, them just talk for the sake of talking. Drop Saka for who? Vieira, Nelson. Unless Eddie keeps doing what he's doing and Jesus moves out wide, forget the Saka thing. Dropping Saka thing is a myth, man. Forget about it. Big up the Cypriots, man. Hope you're doing well and safe, man. Or if you're on holiday in Cyprus, hope you're enjoying it there, man. Would you support us going in for him in January? Jadon Sancho? In theory, because I like him, but we've got too many of these. I think Arteta loves to save these guys that are quote-unquote wonder kids or their career hasn't quite gone. I think we've got too many of them. Let's work with what we've got. I wouldn't be against Jadon Sancho. I think he's a baller, but he's another confidence man. And everyone in life is a confidence man or woman. But I do think there's players, like I think Mudryk to a degree as well, that I think every week your manager has to keep telling you how good you are. And, and I think these are players that when they're believing in themselves, that for 10 games, they'll play out their skin. And likewise, for the next 10, they'll be kind of shaky. And I think you've got to find that headspace in that you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as bad as you think you are. One good game don't make you good. A good season don't make you a good player. And a bad season don't make you a bad player. I think, especially when you're doing this Arsenal thing, this top 6 thing, this team trying to win leagues, people need to be in that healthy headspace. That's why I say whatever you say about Eddie and Nketiah. I think their mentality is there from him, and several others, really and truly. There's been several players judged. I think the only one that's kind of free from criticism in this Arsenal team, and I kind of do it myself, is William Saliba, if I'm completely honest. Not that he warrants any criticism. It's just he gets away with a lot. I'm not going to cap that. Gabriel and Benjamin White are crucified for. No room for Sancho. We could do stuff. Drop Saka, fam. Nelson in. Yeah, man. It looks like Havertz is suffering from imposter syndrome, where he needs to believe in himself. Like Wenger said, whether you believe you can or can't, you've answered your question. But the thing is, I don't know Havertz really from nowhere to be making this. Havertz is playing safe. He needs to get out of this mental block and express himself on the ball a bit daring, in my opinion, but I don't see that happening. You never know. But would you say the way he lost the ball, that was safe? I would have preferred for him in that incident to have kept it safe, man. Right now, Havertz just needs to be taken out of the firing squad for now. I'm sure he'll be okay in the long run. I hear that. Decent impact sub for 65 minutes. Inner Circle is not here for this at all. Football fans expect players to play good every single game about drop Saka. I don't know for the dropping Saka thing, because then you're killing the dynamics of the team even more. Arteta's already implementing a new system. There's no Partey, So man, I'm saying take out. No, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but take out Havertz, take out Saka. Oh, this ain't FIFA. I'm not saying that's wrong, but yeah, we need to stop being captain saver player. I hear that. It did work with Odegaard though, a player who fans writ off 6 months into his Arsenal career, initially on loan. That's one player I was right. 3 players I've been right about. I told you Pepe's not going to bang. I told you Lacazette will never score 20 league goals. And I said keep faith in Odegaard. I've definitely been wrong about plenty of players. Just like how Gunnar wrong about Declan Rice, or was. Excessively high bills for the drop Saka crew. Smash the like button if you don't want any of them people. Some players rise to expectations like Rice. Kai may need some time coming off the bench and coming in just during less pressure situations. Not ideal, but I have to admit his actual condition. But the thing is, I think he's coped well. I just don't think we're waxing lyrical about the Kai Havertz show, really. And obviously being an ex-Chelsea lad, not really, grabbing the game by the scuff of its neck. Again, Mikel Arteta is the manager, but I don't think there is a single person connected to Arsenal, fans, players, etc. If you sat there in the summer and said, in terms of improving our midfield, Kai Havertz moves us closer to that. So that's Arteta, and that's why I kind of got faith, because Arteta's reps on the line. We will sign players that don't work out time and time again. Everyone will, but that's Arteta's man. Martinelli is the one that lacks end product. He got 15 last year, man. Allow him a bit. Can we see Eddie in the middle and Jesus on the right as an option for Saka? Just as I said, it can be. Saka cannot be dropped, but getting subbed after 75 minutes isn't out of the question. If we can be more clinical in front of goal and not leave games so late, he could get rest. Saka is pivotal, as you said there. And I thought Saka would have got clipped purely because his legs looked heavy, man. He looked like he was finished. He looked like he was running on empty, but the manager knows more than us. He kept Donny on. Obviously, he took the corner. The only criticisms I would say of Bukayo Saka, I think he can improve a tenfold defensively, which he has. And I think him and Martinelli, even though we scored from a corner, I don't think him and Martinelli take consistently good enough corners. Big up Bukayo Saka, that's our man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Vieira this season. Even people writ off Vieira. Now, I'm not saying you, but Vieira's the flavor of the month. People are onto Vieira. People were saying at the start, oh, his peak is stress for Vieira. We might have to loan him out. He might have to be sold. He's not going to get game time, etc., etc., etc. Saka is on an 80-plus game run. He needs a break. Otherwise, I predict a long-term injury. Nelson and Smith Rowe need time on. I don't want people to get time for the sake of it. If we're doing this Sunday League thing, all right, everyone can get a game. Reality is, like Arteta said a few months ago, the best players have to play three games every 7 to 10 days. Saka is one of those. He needs to do such. Like, rest man for what? I do hear the concerns about not playing. Of course, he needs to be rested, and if we can be a bit cute and clever with Saka as opposed to last season and seasons before, great. But rest man for what? 3 points is 3 points. You know, where is this rest coming from early in the season where we're chasing 2 points on City now? The team that's the only team in the Prem that's got a 100% record. You've got the Champions League coming on. You've got the Prem coming up thick and fast. Only way man get rested is if we put teams to bed early doors, or if we train our team up to a standard where there's genuinely a right winger that can talk to Saka. I'd say for me, actually, it was kind of encouraging seeing Nelson coming off the left, because I do think if you ask Nelson, not that I know, I think if you asked him where does he prefer to play, I think he would tell you left wing 10 before the right wing, but obviously you just need to play where you can get in. Terrible corners. Saying that, for the 12-13 corners we had, I did like the corner where, I can't remember the minute, but Martinelli was hanging on the outside of the area and it fell to him and he tried to wrap it and he just got it wrong. It would have been good though. Really and truly. Not hearing drop Saka at all. Crazy talk. Kai needs time. Maybe starts Vieira or Smith Rowe and bring him in more slowly. Smith Rowe and Vieira, more so Smith Rowe. You got to be patient. Vieira is the one probably banging on the door now. As we know, Arteta's a stickler for training, really. So let's see what's going on. What do you think of Tomiyasu inverting yesterday? I don't know much about football like you do, but I was impressed. I definitely don't know football. I'm just here. But as I said in the live stream, and I said it now, I think Tomiyasu had a very good impact off the bench, man. I think he was spot on with what he was doing. I think Tomiyasu came on with a point to prove, and it just shows what Arteta means about impact. I think all the subs really, you know, the worst sub was probably Jorginho because he come on for like 2 minutes. It's not a slight on Jorginho. There just wasn't enough time. I think Nelson's cameo, I wouldn't say impressive because there weren't enough minutes to be impressive, but I think he made an impact. I think he actually won the ball as well in what led to Fabio Vieira, another sub he did well to go with Tomiyasu. Feeding in Jesus, another sub. I also think Zinchenko had a very good game yesterday, you know, and that's the one you're kind of worried about. You're thinking, you know, we know what we're going to get with Zinchenko, but you just kind of worried defensively. I think Zinchenko was spot on. Like, if I had to really highlight players who I think did well in a good collective performance, I'd say Declan Rice, I'd say Odegaard, I'd say Zinchenko, I'd say Gabriel. Not quite to Demlock's level, but I'd hail up Eddie Nketiah. I think he did very well. And obviously the subs who are what I've just alluded to. Great questions and talking points and whatnot, really. But it's nice to know when, you know, I'm not going to say it's quite the case, but typically, definitely in the last few years, if Saka isn't turning up or Saka hasn't blitzed the opposition, we haven't necessarily won games. Saka weren't terrible yesterday, but he weren't amazing. And on another day, we're looking at that chance he should have finished. We're just looking at several things, and we still got a result. Saka usually starts the season slow. Well, I mean, Harry Kane used to. Love Nelson off the bench. He seems like an impact player. Comes on with steam whenever he gets the chance. Zinni did well, but not going to lie, Anthony helped at the same time. He was horrible. Now I see why United fans don't rate him. To be fair to Anthony, his decision-making is one thing, but United's build-up play is not helping them. Like, definitely, I think they're in the step in the right direction, but it's slow, it's pedestrian pace. Obviously, it seemed like Arsenal were happy to sit off and let Onana have the ball as much as he wants, let Lissandro, let Delort, let Wan-Bissaka, let Lindelof have the ball, even to a point Casemiro. But once it started going to them, then we started the press. Naturally, you're going to go home. And there genuinely wasn't any options for Man United. That's why you saw even Rashford got frustrated at Lissandro Martinez, just pinging it into the channels, which is food and drink really and truly for us. Saka doesn't need to be amazing every game, but man's misplacing passing and misplacing sitters, which is true. He needs to do better at that. But if we're micro picking Saka in a game where he's still effective, then you know how good he is. Really, I love Nelson, but I'm not sitting here and saying put on Nelson for Saka. Saka needs to improve. Otherwise, Nelson needs to play his link-up play with Jesus is good. I mean, Saka knows he needs to do better in it, and he does do better. Ultimately, you're going to be held to the high standards you set. And yeah, man, I mean, it's been a game, really, hasn't it? Really, like, are we really doing all of this Saka think piece? But then again, at the tail end of the last season, not a single player was safe. I think Martinelli's corners have always been a bit booky. Just stay an extra half an hour at Arsenal and just work on the corners, man. I think Martinelli's and Saka's corners are a bit hit and miss, and obviously Odegaard takes them from time to time, and Nelson actually. They've got to be half decent at it because they must have been doing it in training. Physically, though, Vieira can't start ahead of Havertz. That's probs why. Yeah, I hear it. I had to screenshot messages for the group chat. I've backed Vieira from day one, so I'm drawing for evidence if needed. I hear that. I think Havertz is suffering from very low confidence and being on a slightly different wavelength. We'll see Havertz shine soon. I hope so, man. I believe in the guy, but that doesn't mean I can sit here and lie to you. Look, I'm not advocating believing the guy for believing in the guy. It's a bit like just screaming, trust the process for no reason. You need to look at evidence. Remember that Martinelli corner that didn't beat the first, man. It's crazy, man. It is, man. That was a pass that Zinchenko gave in the second half when I think Gabriel fell before that, put us under pressure. Feel like sometimes he's overcomposed. I mean, Zinchenko backs himself, and I credit Zinchenko and all of the players really. Zinchenko, Gabriel, Eddie Nketiah, Martinelli. Havertz made a run, he didn't get the ball, and obviously Odegaard for Odegaard's goal. I think it was 8 key passes I counted. Only one player has created more chances than Saka so far this season. He takes 2 players out of the game and creates space for others, even when he doesn't score or assist. I hear that. We can't be looking for one player to be the guy. We had a well-distributed goal-scoring sheet last season. That helps eliminate teams focusing on one player to shut down. Amen. Saka is a game changer. That's why he stays on in his worst games, can still change it on in an instant. And that's right. That you're right. Because even though he looked knackered and he needed, like he wanted to come off, Saka's got that X factor and something might happen. And Arteta was right because, Onana probably a bit of fortune with the deflection, for Rice's goal. But ultimately, Saka's corners led to Declan Rice getting his first Arsenal goal, innit? I can't lie. I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked. Like if you was part of my watch along, I was so close to celebrating. I thought Saka bagged, but Saka's human. On another day, Saka puts the either side, but not every player is going to score every chance they get. Bro, Havertz just needs to be eased into the game. Vieira would be good to see what he can do from the start, but Smith Rowe would be good to see as well. I think Smith Rowe is behind even Fabio Vieira in the line. To be honest, I do like the idea of Martinelli being in and around the box for the corners. Obviously, a tactical reason why he isn't, but them half chances, I fancy him in the box. I've already seen that. So, yeah, man. We're moving like Havertz in front of goal with these likes. Hit the like button, people. Big up Andrew for that, man. Havertz didn't deserve that. But like the big man said there, like Andrew said, smash the like button. With that being said, let's see exactly what's going on in the news, people. There's apparently Partey injury. Pepe's putting final touches on moving. Again, in terms of, is it going to share? There we go. In terms of Arsenal versus Man United, at 5 p.m, there's a video coming out from myself. Set your reminders on that. Looking at Arsenal's first. We'll go over on Arteta's press conference as well. But Arsenal's Nicolas Pepe undergoes medical ahead of move to Besiktas. Allegedly, French outlet L'Equipe are reporting that out of favour Arsenal forward Pepe, 28 years of age, has agreed to leave the Gunners. The Ivory Coast international is reportedly undergoing a medical in Paris ahead of a move to the Turkish Super League club Besiktas. I didn't know the Turkish league was still open. I thought it was just Saudi. Pepe is not part of Arteta's plans for the future at Arsenal. As we know, he took no significant part in Arsenal's pre-season plans. He's yet to make the squad in the 4 games we've played in the Premier League so far. He was on loan at Nice, where he didn't pull up any trees, and Arteta was quite critical of that. He scored 8 goals in 28 appearances. He's tied until 2024. We'd love to let him get him gone. Apparently, he initially rejected the chance to join Besiktas, but maybe with his options limited, he seems keen on a move to Turkey. Apparently, he will join Besiktas. The player passed the medical in Paris. He accepted Besiktas' proposal in recent hours after initially rejecting them. So I wonder what's changed there, but who knows? Apparently, Arsenal are willing to allow him to leave for a nominal fee to get him off the wage bill, where probably just got to take and accept anything, people, really and truly. Apparently, Reece Nelson had caught people over a dog attack. Crazy. Attacked his masseuse. Nelson has arrived at court for a dog attack trial after his pooch alleged attack to Monsieur, I can't say that word, in his North London home in December 2020. The dog called Tiago is believed to be a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, but he also has posted a picture of a dog believed to be a French Bull on his Instagram. Nelson was charged with being in charge of the dog, which caused injury while being dangerously out of control. He's facing a criminal trial after his dog allegedly attacked a massage therapist on December the 2nd, 2020. Apparently, he arrived at Hendon Magistrates Court, where his trial is set to get on the way. Life's crazy. 1 minute you're celebrating a victory, and then you're in court. And as you can see with him, there you have that. So that's Reece Nelson. Bit harsh. Apparently, Partey is set to miss at least 6 weeks after suffering a muscular injury in training, with the club hopeful he'll return after the October international break. So one more, he's going to miss a lot of games. There has been some rumours it's more of a fire issue rather than a groin, but hasn't Partey got a long-standing history with the groin? So maybe if it's 6 weeks, it's 8. Really, I think the club probably be cautious in that regards. He underwent tests with the damage, a combination of groin and thigh injuries apparently happened in the training session. He'll be available after the October international break after he suffered an upper leg muscular injury in training last week. He pulled up on Thursday and has undergone a series of tests to determine the extent of the damage, which has been pinpointed as a combination of a groin and thigh injury. Mikel Arteta has not put a timescale, and he didn't really shed any light in the build-up to the Man United game. Apparently, he's set to miss Everton, Spurs, where he was very good against Tottenham last year, Bournemouth, Man City, that's Bournemouth away, as well as Champions League games against PSV and Lens. Hopefully, El Nene can be back, because we're going to need El Nene and Jorginho in that running. So we'll have to see exactly what's going on there, people. We all know the amount of injuries Partey has had in an Arsenal shirt is ridiculous. The only things, I've said it before, the only things I could knock Partey with is that Partey is good a lot of the time, but there's 4, 5, 6 games a season. Thomas Partey is great, and he plays to that higher level. Like I just mentioned, the Spurs game and the injuries, you know this is going to strike. To be fair, by his own standards, last season he was as fit as he ever could be, but right now he's not there really. So yeah, moving away from that, Ten Hag, sour. You know, he said everything went against us, lol. You know, Lindelof's fortunate. How that penalty wasn't given, I don't know, especially when Rashford's been given that at Old Trafford. That, you know, again, rather than you just living for the counter-attack and Arsenal switching off and allowing you to score, you had no real game plan beyond playing out from the back, but you were competitive. The performance was all right from us. I thought we played a very good game, but everything went against us. Then you don't win the game. This guy loves to blame stuff. We needed a little bit more luck. You make your own luck to win the game. It was not offside for Garnacho. It was the wrong angle. How do you know if it's the wrong angle? Are you in Stockley Park? I'm not backing VAR, but this ain't making no sense. It was then a penalty on Højlund, lol, lol. And then we can see the goal. That's a foul on Johnny Evans, lol, lol. Rather than you asking yourself why you brought on Maguire and Evans or why your club's in that scenario. You can say you need to finish your chances. What chances? And then you shouldn't concede a goal after going 1 up. Exactly. This is all true, but I was happy with the performance. Fair enough. Mike Dean, who I'm not backing him at all. I don't think that's a pen. I think it's just good, strong defending. They're both tussling for it, and his, in brackets, Gabriel's arms are there. But if you look at another angle, Højlund's got hold of his left arm, so he's kind of pulling the defender down. I'd be more than happy with that decision. Amen. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. How our penalty wasn't given, I don't know, people. Watching up in the gantry, it looked a stick-on penalty, as did everyone in the stadium. But the more you look at it from another angle, the defender hasn't made a foul. I can see why the penalty was given, but there's no foul. They've rightly come to the correct decision. I've seen Rashford and I've seen them decisions being given. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, VAR is a bit of a joke, man. Fortunately, it was fortunate for us. And yeah, how's Lindelof been fortunate here? No malice from him, but Xhaka got clipped against Liverpool a few years ago for that. Mikel Arteta and Havertz said, I said to Havertz, things are hard at the beginning. When I met my wife at the beginning, it was hard to conquer her. It was hard. I had to try and message her and go and go. And at the end, when she says, yes, we can be together, it's beautiful. Madman. Anyways, Mikel Arteta has been in top form this week with these analogies and examples. Jesus has been speaking. He said, I'm feeling good. It's been tough when you just come back for an injury after a holiday. I started to feel my knee again. It was unlucky for me. It's tough after preseason. You go and try, but you feel pain. Then I made the decision to do the surgery as quick as possible and come back stronger. It was tough, but I'm now getting back. It's so important to find rhythm again. So I'm back. I feel good and I'm happy. Scrolling all the way down, he then said, first of all, competition is always good for me and him. He's speaking in relation to Eddie. In all positions, when you have competition, it's a good thing. From day one, I'm a fan of Eddie because of the way he works and the way he trains is amazing. It's not easy to come from the academy at a massive club and fight to play in the first team. Congrats to him. He's doing so well and he deserves to be called into the England national team. For me personally, it's a good competition. It's always good for the club because for sure he's making me better and I'm making him better as well. Big him up, people. Apparently, Jesus will not be part of the Brazil squad. Fair enough, man. We need that. Declan Rice has spoken, people. What are you lot saying? Big up yourself, MB. Shout out the members. Gabriel got IQ boost. Johnny Evans fouled Gabriel. Have you looked at it? Looked at the replays? I can big up my guy Amenya. I can confirm he was onside. You have to see it from Ten Hag's bold perspective. Sour grapes, and I can't lie. Right is right and wrong is wrong. But for me as a 28-year-old, having seen how our unbeaten record ended at Old Trafford and years of Man United winning in these sort of performances, I don't care. I don't care. Take it up with the refs. The ref done bookie decisions for both teams. Take it up with the refs because it will be us next week or the week before or the week after. We've been here, done it, and wore the t-shirt. No one gave a flying monkeys when certain dodgy things happen at Brentford. Nobody cares really and truly. Shameless our fans calling for Vieira to be binned, calling him a bum, and then saying he had arms like super noodles. Now they're begging for him to start. It makes me chuckle. I want it all now generation. I hear that. Why do you think Ben White doesn't get called up to the England squad? It's clearly him and Southgate. There's been something in it. It can't be a footballing decision or a sporting decision, really and truly. It just simply can't be. Man's trying to seduce Havertz. To be fair, Mikel Arteta, the way these players speak about Mikel Arteta and the way the new players speak about him, I don't know what he's telling them on the phone, but he must be seducing them. The way Declan Rice was talking, I don't know what kind of lotioning Arteta was doing. But Declan Rice has said, what? Goldbridge saying Arsenal in the mud, then Gold this it. Bro, all them Man United content creators, certain man was saying the Emirates is silent. This is why you talk on the final whistle. Empty barrels make the most noise. We know this. And you would have thought when Rashford scored, they would have been a bit humble, like they didn't see the same movie last year. But fair enough. Hopefully we can do the double at Old Trafford because it's been far too long. In my 28 years, I've seen us win the league at Old Trafford. Now I can't even bet on winning 3 points. I want the double over them. Man United is a massive club, a joyful club and things. But their fans, the fans I know, I wish nothing but bad for them. Anyways, Declan Rice has said to score and feel the stadium erupt with the sigh of relief that we got the 3 points from such a massive fixture. It's incredible what we play football for. And he did speak as well. And he was speaking about the manager said we need 3 points. We're looking at City. And Declan Rice also said we were sloppy in the first half. And then he went on to say, to bounce back and show that fight and spirit and hunger with such a young team, you can see the mentality in the squad that we never give up. That's true. Mindset, mentality, energy, we're creating the chances, but just not finishing them off at the moment. It will come, and the manager is on us to keep improving every day. We're eager and hungry to learn, and this squad is capable of doing good things. When we play such attacking football and want to win the ball high up the pitch, sometimes you'll get caught on the counter-attack, which is true. We stuck to what we know, kept probing and pushing the door, and in the end, it paid off. There's a real change in feeling with the fans who are constantly with us, and I'm sure they're buzzing with the moment, which is true. Ramsdale said the celebrations were crazy. He said, for the endings like that, I think it's a toss-up. You probably want to win 3-0 and be comfortable. But when you do have that feeling, there's nothing quite like it in football. It's a great way to end going into the international break, and one which we can breathe, relax and enjoy. It was a topsy-turvy game, going 1 down, 1-1. Then you think you've got a penalty, then you don't. Then you think you've conceded, then you haven't. I really like Ramsdale, man. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's flipping honest, man, as hell. So to keep going and playing the Arsenal way, playing the way which we want to play, it's testament to the players because we're trusting what we're doing. Like the manager said in the week, relationships are built in the grass, and that left unit probably trained with each other for 4 or 5 days with Zinchenko coming back from injury, and you can see it slowly starting to click. I love these little insights. I mean, it's common sense. They would be training, but then you could see how the left was moving, really. The left-hand side of our pitch. He's then spoken about Declan Rice. He hasn't stopped smiling. I've just been asked in a different interview if he'll take the pressure off his shoulders, but I'm not too sure he feels any pressure. It's great that he's got a goal so early on. We want him to score more, which he does as well, but you need to shoot, innit? We want him to be in a position to shoot and score. He probably should have scored in the first half with a header. Yeah, he should have. And he's probably unlucky not to have got an Arsenal goal sooner. And you can see what he does going backwards. So again, 4 games into his Arsenal career, if he has more time with us, we'll have more time with him. And you'll see a completely different Declan Rice from now until the end of the season. For him, it's top. Celebrations were crazy. And we just sung Rice, Rice, Baby. Honestly, it was a strange afternoon. I never thought I'd hear Rice, Rice, Baby in a football stadium with a bunch of 30 people ranging from 40 years of age to 18 years of age dancing around. But that's what football's about. That's what we love. Fair enough. My most enjoyable moment is when the Sky camera panned to Martin Odegaard, and you can see Odegaard doing that. Let's see what the gaffer said. Shouldn't have been brought in the first place. We're at where we're at. I don't care. I love it. Yes, we have suffered so much rubbish from referees and even commentators. So here you don't care. Bro, Gary Neville tears. Roy Keane vex. Ten Hag blaming everyone but himself in his tactics in his club. It's lovely. Nonetheless, our gaffer said, on if the game went according to plan. I don't think it did for both teams, but exactly like that. Yep, I told them yesterday that was going to happen. I didn't want to tell the crowd there was a bit of emotion there. We knew it'd be an emotional game that would spark into life when the first goal was scored. I definitely didn't see Man United scoring at the time they did. I definitely didn't see Odegaard scoring the time he did. On how he feels great. We all work so hard and plan everything to live moments like this. Those moments are going to stick with us. To see the crowd so connected with the team again and to celebrate in a big match like today with the history of this clash is something great. So very happy. On not having a perfect performance, no, especially the goal that we give away. We talked about losing the ball inside the first 2 passes against this team, your kaput. We did again in the second half. They could have scored, but it was overturned. For the rest of the match, the win, the determination, the eagerness of the team, the way we showed that we'll win, and that mentality to go and go again, I'm so proud of. Facts, man. Roy Keane got headbutted. I saw the Michael Richards stuff, but this is what I mean. People doing things too far. Roy Keane, I'm surprised Roy Keane's not in prison because he headbutt Roy Keane. I know he's getting on a bit, but it's not going to end well. And that's people doing it, people taking things way too far. Just leave the man alone, man. On scoring late goals, I prefer Bagayo to put it in the back of the net much earlier. I love that. I do as well as the other chances we had. You're going to mention Kai Havertz one. But if it doesn't happen that way, it has to happen another way. And the team needs different tools to win football matches. We needed the capacity to react, which I think we did really well in the first half with the way we scored. That made the difference. And I think that set the tone as well and gave some confidence to the team. So really good. I did like how we came out in the second half, especially when Man United were in their own half. On Rice, he said, I think a tremendous performance. When you look at a holding midfielder and how he needs to dominate his area and pressing that is needed, how he breaks up play, how he glues the team together in many moments when it's stretching a little bit, he was really dominant and then produced a magic moment to win the game. So I'm really happy with him. Caicedo, are you watching? This could have been you. On his mentality, we did it yesterday, but yesterday your heart rate is at 80 and today it's at 190. So to produce the same level of quality when the pressure is on at that moment is just unique. You need that quality, that composure you showed today. And I did like Declan Rice's interview before the game as well. Have you seen the offside with Garnacho? Big Gabby moves back to make him offside, pure genius. Spoke about that in the video coming out at 5. And it is. I don't think Big Gabby gets the praise he deserves. I don't think he don't look as graceful as Saliba. I think Saliba gets away with murder when he makes a mistake, and I think Gabriel is crucified. I think, Benjamin White and Gabriel get a lot of nonsense that Saliba's free from. I'm not saying to get on Saliba's back. I'm just saying it needs to be fair. But yeah, on his leadership, we know Declan Rice is a leader. Very natural. He's a great kid. I think he's got a good mixture of being extremely demanding with everyone and himself, and then a bit of banter as well, being around the boys and the staff in a really humble way. I think he's fitted in brilliantly. On whether Rice can add more goal involvements to his game, that's undoubtedly the challenge for Declan Rice, is it not? He said for sure. And when you see the technical ability he has and how he executed it in this moment, his range when he's shooting from range, his accuracy, the power he generates with no space with both legs, he can do it with both feet. He's got the timing to arrive in the box. The position will determine a lot with how many goals he'll score, because at the end, it's about how consistent you are arriving there. And again, I think his interview with Sky was quite interesting when they asked him the 6 or the 8. He said he's comfortable with both. He said he more prefers the 6 because he's been doing that, but he's trying to add goals to his game. So it's nice to see he's popped his Arsenal cherry there. On the importance of keeping the momentum early in the season. For every team, the competition for every team is like game 1. If you don't win the first, then the second and the third, there's still 34 games to go. So just focus on the game, play with more naturality, and the result will come. If you deserve it in the end after 38 games, you'll be where you deserve, and you can only focus on that because it's still very, very early. On Thomas Partey, I don't know. Unfortunately, he got an injury in training. It doesn't look good. We need some more tests. We believe he's going to be out for weeks. We think it's his groin, but can be something in between. Unusually, Arteta's kind of a bit shedded a lot of light on that one there. On the performance level of the team heading into the international break, very happy. We played 4 games. We deserved to win 4 games. We didn't deserve to win the Fulham game because we didn't. Sometimes you deserve to lose and you lose. Sometimes you play well, you don't deserve to lose. Sometimes you draw when you don't deserve anything. And sometimes you win when you don't. But we didn't deserve to win the Fulham game. You don't. 10 men against a 10-man side, set piece with 3 minutes left. If you make sure you're switched on, you don't start the game in the way we did. You make sure you finish your chances. So I slightly disagree with you, Mikel Arteta. If you can't win, don't lose. But it's been 2 games now. We've had to chase a game from losing positions. Fortunately, we haven't lost, but we do need to be a bit better. So I slightly disagree with the 4 games, but the 3, yeah, it could be very different. But the margins that we're arriving at late stages of the game doesn't reflect what the team has done before. There are things that are still in our control that we can do better, and the team will try to progress and evolve in that direction to close games earlier and win them easier. I agree with that. I would say the last half an hour, in fact, the whole game, but the last half an hour against Crystal Palace is the only time I couldn't have demanded anything more defensively from our team. I think we've shown that we'll concede goals very early, and we've, the last 20, 15, 10 minutes of games in, definitely against Fulham, Man United, and the goal we conceded against Forest, maybe we can learn to manage games a bit better. But nonetheless, I think he's right, man. Really and truly. On Fabio Vieira, and if he could start, every player has a chance to do that. Today, we decided to start with Kai. We knew that Fabio would have a big impact, especially in the last few minutes or final minutes. If we needed something and something has changed with Fabio, you notice with the crowd, when he steps in, he is different to how he was last year. He's more mature, he's more senior in the squad, and his confidence in the squad is high. So I'm really happy to have those options. Big him up, man, and hopefully he can continue to do such. On Thomas Partey, we've already spoken about that, so I won't bore you with that. And I don't think there's anything else there. We've gone over that. That's Edu speaking. Odegaard said on the win, it was mad. I don't know what happened, but Gabriel Jesus did so well to score. Did so well in the end and scored a great goal, and we got the win. All games are like this now, and you have to be prepared to play 100, 105, 110 minutes. We did great, and I'm very pleased with the win. And I think, with the changes to how they apply stoppage time, look at the scenes. Man's hugging Saka like that's his son. He probably needs a paternity test. I think with the changes and the extreme amount of added on time, I think Arteta is going to have to use more of his subs, as you've probably seen. Look at the scenes, man. Absolute scenes, man. Absolute scenes. Arteta apparently said a team needs different tools to win football matches and the capacity to react. We did that in the first half against Man United, and that set the tone and brought some calmness to the team. Fair enough, man. I don't think there's anything else. We've gone over the Jesus stuff already. We've gone over Declan Rice. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else in particular for us to go over specifically. We got lucky, make no mistake about it. Elements of luck, but you make your own luck. I would say the win should not cloud, when you remove your emotions, the improvements we need to make. We need to be less emotional. Rice could get 5 goals a season with 7 assists, but strikers need to do more. Deluded. Potential opportunity January window. Do we bid 50 million for Sancho and lower his salary? I don't know. I don't think you get your Man United salary. I don't know if United would be keen to sell him. I wouldn't be against Jadon Sancho in the squad, but you're probably the strongest off the left or in the 10, and them areas appear quite clouded or crowded, better yet. Then obviously on the right-hand side, you're not talking to Saka. I wouldn't be against Sancho if Arteta was on it, but yeah. We just needed to win these big matches, these big games, just win. There you have it. But at some point, we're going to play the way we played and maybe not necessarily win that. Had it have ended 2-1, the language might be a slightly bit different, but unfortunately it didn't, innit? The 5 margins went for us, and hopefully that remains the case. But whether it can be, it's down to us, really and truly. For what it's worth, some close to Jadon Sancho believe he hasn't been getting a fair run at cementing the first team's place, pointing out that Anthony is sometimes given preferential treatment despite struggling for consistency himself. Seems like someone crying about, woe is me, go and change things, and if not, keep it moving. So obviously, Partey, we've got no light shedded on his injury. Well, we have, but we don't know when he's back. Pepe seems to be putting the final touches to leaving Arsenal Football Club. So yeah, Kai Havertz, man, I don't know what to say anymore. Surely he gets dropped. He'll be back starting after the international break. Who have we actually got after the international break? For what it's worth, let me see the fixtures. Everton away. Their form's been shocking. We've got Everton away, then on the 17th of September. Then on the 20th, we've got PSV in the Champions League. Then we've got a North London derby. And to be fair, Postecoglou's got them playing quite good. And then on the 26th, 2 days later, surely that changes. Surely that changes, because we're playing on the 24th of September. And then on the 26th, surely that Brentford fixture changes. I imagine it changes, but we got to go travel to Brentford. Then we end September, against Bournemouth. So we've started the month well. We've reacted to dropping 2 points against Fulham. We've won a big game against Man United. We got into the international break in good spirits. We started the month well, but it's September. When it's May, you take your foot off the gas. We've started it. You started the month well, but on paper, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games left. Make sure we give ourselves a positive performance in that regards, man. If not, we're in trouble. If you haven't smashed the like button, make sure you smash the like button. People, don't forget 5 p.m. Another video is coming out where I kind of went over everything tactically. So check that out. Twitch gang, make sure you join me for Football Manager. You lot giving up your time listening. talking points, all of these things. All I can say is thank you. And it's been a great one, people. But I'm going to love and leave you lot for now. I'm out. Smash the like button if you haven't. Take care. Stay blessed. Have a great week. I'm out.
There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like.